Yay, HQ, welcome aboard with Ryan Wilson. I'm Eric Casillas. And boy, two quarterbacks that don't look alike, but they certainly do have a lot of similarities. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, both drafted in the first round of the same draft. The offense runs through them. They beat you with your arm, beat you with your legs. Questions about are they accurate enough? Questions about could they do it in the playoffs? Both won the first playoff games ever last week. So how would it come this time around? Someone gonna get a win this time. Would it be Allen? Would it be Lamar Jackson? Well, kind of neither of them in the first half. It was 3-3 at the half, but first possession of the third quarter, Josh Allen hits Stefon Diggs. Diggs fights his way in for the score. Bills up 10-3 on the board, 8 for a $106 and a touchdown for Diggs. Ensuing possession, Ravens looking for a response. Lamar moving. Pressure. Can't make the throw to Marquise Brown. He was open. It was not a great day for Lamar Jackson, but he's being harassed. Can't put that one on his shoulders. You can put this one on his shoulders, though. Taron Johnson with the pick. Go down. No, don't go down because you're going to go the whole way, the other way. 101 yards. Wow. First red zone interception of Lamar Jackson's career comes at a terrible time. 101-yard return. That ties the longest interception return in playoff history. Then it went from bad to worse. Ensuing possession, bad snap. Lamar trying to run and takes a big hit. Watch his head. Nope. That's called concussion protocol. He'd leave. That's not the same run against Cleveland. He did not return. So, undrafted rookie Tyler Huntley out of Utah is their chance. 4th and 8 from 29. He's got a shot here. Oh. Hollywood, wide open, behind the defense, misses them. That was really their last good chance. Bills advance to their first AFC Championship game since 1994. They'll play the winners of the Browns and the Chiefs. Think of it this way. If the Browns win, the Bills will host the AFC Championship game. If they lose and Kansas City wins, well, then Buffalo goes on the highway to Arrowhead. Bills win on the money line, -140. They were given 2.5. Bills given the points, the most popular wager at William Hill, so everyone happy on that one. The under comes in, total at kickoff, 49.5. All right, Bills are rolling. 8 straight games. And oh, by the way, last time they lost in a Hail Mary. Here are the Bills' losses this entire season. On a Tuesday. Nobody even plays on a Tuesday in the NFL. When they weren't sure if or who they were going to play. They lost to the Titans on the road. Then, immediately after, when they played the Chiefs and weren't sure when and where they're going to play those guys. And then on a Hail Mary. That's it. That's the entirety of their losses. They've covered 9 out of 10. They have gotten it done. Bills, as hot as anybody in the NFL right now. All right, everybody in the pool. Brian McFadden, 2-time Super Bowl champion of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Brady Quinn, our All-American quarterback. And Ryan Wilson, our draft expert. I'm Eric Casillas. B-Mac, I'll start with you. Boy, I know we had a lot of attention on the quarterbacks coming in. But 3 points? And I know he didn't finish, but he played a lot of this game. What about the Buffalo defense and what they did to a rushing attack that had the best game, 6-game stretch since 1949 coming in?
Leslie Frazier had an ideal game plan for the Baltimore Ravens. Remember last year they played real good stout football against Lamar Jackson in the Ravens offense. And one thing that I emphasized a few weeks ago or during this hot streak with the Buffalo Bills, their defense, they're finally healthy on all 3 levels. They have all their key contributors back in the lineup, and they're playing some of their best football at the most important time. And tonight, we saw that on display from start to finish. They harassed Lamar Jackson. They sacked Lamar Jackson. They suffocated the ground game. They created a turnover, and not to mention they put points on the scoreboard for their offense in a night where the offense wasn't executing at its best, primarily because of the win. But I can tell you this much, they would need to continue this way for them to be successful and to continue to be alive in the playoffs. But their offense is not the only story right now in Buffalo. Josh Allen is not the only story. Right now, their defense is definitely involved in that storytelling, and they've been showing up big time over the last few weeks.
Brady, what do you think of Josh Allen in this one? I mean, I know they got the win, and there were some things to like. There were some things not to like. Overall, if you were sort of grading Josh Allen today, considering you got a grade on a curve, this wasn't, the easy math test. This was the tough physics exam that they gave to you in Latin with all the wind up there. What would you think of Josh Allen today?
Well, here's how it works, EK. In the playoffs, all you got to worry about is pass or fail. There's no A, B, C, or D. All right, it's survive and advance, and especially considering the conditions, really considering the first half, too, when we kind of talked about just the personnel matchup. You know, Baltimore's strength is their secondary. They've got 3 corners, and Marcus Peters, Jimmy Smith, and Marlon Humphrey that are some of the better in the NFL. I really felt like they could match up well with the Buffalo Bills wide receiver, with Beasley being hampered, Gabriel Davis hampered a little bit too, with some nagging injuries. And so it had to be Diggs. And I just think you got to compliment Brian Daboll and the job he did, moving him around, getting him to cut splits, you know, getting him on different players and getting him in different spots to get him the football. And obviously Josh Allen for delivering. So their offense showed to me tonight that even in not ideal conditions, and even without a running game, they're still able to find enough production to go win a football game, and in particular helping to distance themselves in the second half. But B-Mac touched on the defense. I thought one of the things Leslie Frazier did a tremendous job of was usually slanting the front and creating games up front to allow them to penetrate and really create negative plays in the backfield before the rushing attack for Baltimore could get going. That's one of the most frustrating things you can have from a defense when you like to run the football, have some of that quarterback run game, is when you've got defenders who are in your lap, when you're trying to make a zone read or you're trying to have a little slower developing player, maybe misdirection play with the quarterback design runs. Leslie Frazier implemented a lot of those slants and TEs and different stunts that you see up front to kind of pinch down and stop some of the rushing attack, and that was incredibly effective to go along with obviously a huge play by Johnson on the pick 6. And that really was the difference in this football game that took away all the momentum, especially after Jackson got hurt.
What happened with Lamar Jackson today? What'd you see with him? This is a guy that is now 1-3 in the playoffs. And the one game he won, I mean, look, Brady points out, it's right, it's pass-fail. But the one game he passed, largely due to the fact that they shut down Derrick Henry on the defense. They were down 10-0, and he had an opportunity to bring them back because they did keep Derrick Henry in check. What did you think with Lamar Jackson today? How come it was such a struggle for him?
Well, we said before the game the first thing that the Bills would have to do is slow up that running game, and that starts with J.K. Dobbins and Lamar Jackson. And for the most part, they did a pretty good job of that. And then in the second half, Lamar threw the ball a little more, and we saw the interception to Taron Johnson in the end zone. That was a terrible throw. You can't make that throw without seeing Johnson coming there from the left. And then there were some issues with the center snap exchange, the center quarterback exchange, out of shotgun. We saw the ball sail over Lamar's head that very last time when he was concussed in the end zone. But there were issues going in the first half. There were bobbles throughout the game, and I think there was never really Lamar feeling like he was in sync. The wind probably played a huge part as well. But Josh Allen's playing in that same weather, and he didn't play an A+ game. But Josh Allen, as Brady and EK noted, he passed. He did exactly what he needed to do. He avoided the turnovers, and I feel like the turnovers married with the running game that wasn't effective in the second half proved to be the difference.
Brady's wife and I went to the same school, and we can take it all pass-fail, by the way. That's why he knows that. So I'm big on pass-fail. I love it. That's exactly it. B-Mac, are you now more or less convinced that Buffalo can go to the Super Bowl after the win? Look, the defense was better than we thought. The offense, not quite what we thought. They're not balanced at all on offense. It all goes through 17. When they got down, we looked at halftime, we talked about it. He had every single play but one. Do you feel better or worse about the Bills than you did, sort of this morning, knowing that they won the game and they're going to advance?
Better. The reason why I feel better is because this was an ugly game, right? We've seen Buffalo win with style points. We see Buffalo win with entertaining light plays. This was an ugly game, and they were able to prevail and come out with a huge win, primarily because of their defense. I don't expect to see these weather conditions week in and week out in the postseason like they had tonight. And because of that, we know the offense will be more efficient, especially the quarterback in Josh Allen. But one thing that I'm hyped about is their defense, because depending on who they play in the next round, right, especially if things work out like we believe it will and they play the Kansas City Chiefs, they're going to have to get their best effort from their defense. And who's to say if they play against Cleveland, you know what I mean? The way how their offense is rolling as well. Because I think offensively, as long as there's normal weather, Josh Allen is going to be outstanding. He's going to put up numbers. And I'm starting to believe right now, Buffalo might be the one team that I've seen in a long time they can be one-dimensional and still be successful. Remember in the first half, they did not have one design running play called. The only running play was Josh Allen improvising and just running on the fly. They were able to do some pretty good things in the second half. I mean, the first half, granted, not scoring a lot of points, but moving the ball, not trying to run the football. So me personally, I feel better about their chances because when you get to the playoffs, it's all about winning. There's no such thing as style points. It's all about winning. They won today against a real good team that was hot, and they advanced into the AFC Championship game.
I still got some reservations about this Buffalo Bills team. I mean, look, the weather, if indeed it's in Kansas City, could be one in which you're going to have to be able to have some balance and run the football. They didn't have Zach Moss for tonight's game. I think that hurt them a little bit, and especially if you're going to go up against the Kansas City Chiefs, you're going to have to be balanced. Let's not forget, too, that group has some rushers up front with Chris Jones and Frank Clark, and you can't allow them just to tee off on your offensive line the entire game. I would make the case that I think the Kansas City Chiefs front, again, assuming that they win, and that's who they're playing next week, has a better front than what they saw from the Baltimore Ravens pass rush tonight, which really for the most part had to bring pressure majority of times this season in order to get pressure. There's really no one outstanding guy, and so the fact that I don't know that they're going to be able to just drop back the entire game and have success. Especially considering I was a little bit surprised sometimes too. We didn't see a lot of cloud coverage. At times we saw some brack coverage and doubling on Diggs, but not consistently enough. I do think we'll see that from the Chiefs to try to eliminate Stefon Diggs from this passing attack and see who else will step up. So they're going to need the balance of the rushing attack in order to be able to find production on offense. And look, it was a good defensive performance tonight, but both defenses had 12 men on the field the entire game. That win made it incredibly difficult. To allow any sort of field goals, but obviously passing game in particular downfield, and that's why I think you saw both teams really be able to effectively throw the ball in the short intermediate. But once you got that ball up in the air, it became really hard to be accurate downfield, and those conditions could be very, very well the same in Arrowhead next week. Well done. We'll say in our pregame, Ryan Wilson was the one saying Buffalo, 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 Buffalo. They're going to get it done, and believed in the Buffalo D's ability to shut down the run game, and that proved to be fortuitous as the Bills advance to the AFC title game. Meanwhile, here we go. Baltimore at the podium. Here's their coach, John Harbaugh.
But did that also have an impact on what you could do on offense?
Well, I think it affected both teams to some degree on offense. Obviously, when you're throwing the ball, there's a wind and different areas of the game for sure. They didn't do anything really that surprised us. We were prepared for it. I thought they executed well. We executed well at times. We weren't able to finish the drives and get the points that we needed. That's the bottom line.
Jeff Zaribet.
John, you mentioned the wind playing havoc in certain areas. Was snaps one of the areas? Why was Patrick having so many issues, it seemed like, throughout?
I'm sure the wind was part of that. And I'm sure there was other issues, too, that I'm not sure if I can comment on at this time. I was on the sideline. I wasn't out there.
Aaron Kazinitz.
Hey, John, you mentioned at the top all the stuff you guys went through this year. How would you describe kind of the mood other than just down? Was there anything that stuck out to you about how the players reacted?
No. I mean, our players are great. The players are disappointed. I don't know what you're looking for, but I can just tell you that, it's tough to lose a game. You're disappointed. But, it's really not emotions that we're going to sit here and share. It's ours. Our guys fight like crazy, and you want to win the game, and you fight to win the game. And if you don't win the game, you're going to feel it. That's how it works. That's part of it.
Luke Jones?
They handle it great. Our guys are tough, and they handle
John, you knew how tough it was going up against this offense with the way your defense played, only giving up 10 offensive points to Buffalo. How disappointed are you for them just to have that kind of effort and the team not get the result you want?
I'm very proud of the way our defense played. I thought they played their hearts out. They played really good football, and all of our team. I'm not disappointed in anybody.
Kurt McEwen?
John, your thoughts on Josh Allen and Buffalo and how they handled what you presented tonight?
I thought they played a winning football game under the circumstances and won the game.
Todd Karpovich?
Hey, Coach, can you just comment or two about Tyler Huntley's performance and the poise he showed for a rookie and being put in a tough situation, how well he played?
Yeah, he did. He did a good job. Probably the wind might have pushed that ball late there. We had that 4th down play that just kind of got out of Marquise's grasp. That was a heck of a throw, you know. I think the wind pushed it from behind just a little bit, but made some scramble plays, handled it, in terms of managing things and orchestrating, and really a challenging situation because we were in the time constraint there and trying to move as fast as we could. So I thought he did a nice job.
We'll go back to Jameson Hensley.
Hey, John, Lamar has always protected the ball so well in the red zone. Do you just chalk that up to the Bills defender just making a good play on that interception?
Well, if you're looking for details on that, I'll have to see it. I haven't really seen it in detail at this point.
Jeff Cerebet?
John, you guys used 2 timeouts early in the game, and I think there were other cases it seemed like they were late offensively breaking the huddle. Were there any issues getting the calls in on time, or do you have any reason for that?
The one on defense that we called, we had a substitution issue there a little bit. Probably could have held the timeout, but we felt like we needed to call the timeout, so I called it. And the offensive one, Lamar might have been able to get that off, but I don't think we had a lot of confidence in the press box necessarily that we had the play, the right play. Everybody was organized enough, so that's why those 2 happened. Those are just kind of management circumstances that happen sometimes.
Coach, we appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right, fascinating stuff from the coach. Straight ahead, how about the winner's reaction? Big plays getting it done. Bills may actually host the AFC Championship Game. It's all straight ahead. Yeah, HQ.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.